and welcome to the Norwood Conservation Commission meeting tonight, Wednesday, February 12th, 7:30 p.m. If anyone else is recording tonight's meeting, please let us know now. All right, as we've done in the remote and hybrid environment, I'm going to go down the list of Conservation Commissioners for opening roll call. I'll just ask you to verbally confirm your attendance tonight, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is here. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Here.
Anil Prasad.
Here.
Kalima Mustafa Widberg.
Here.
Excellent, thank you for that. We'll start off tonight's agenda with our public hearings. We have 3 on the line. I think these are going to be relatively quick. We're going to start with line item number 1. This is 0 Winter Street, notice of intent under DEP file number 251-0568. Norwood number is 2024-25. Applicant is TES Winter Street Solar 23 LLC, represented by Richard Tabazinski of Atlantic Design Engineers. Project description is proposed solar photovoltaic facility at closed Winter Street landfill in buffer zone. This was continued from January 29th, 2025, and we have a request from the applicant to continue to March 5th, 2025 without testimony so that they have the opportunity to incorporate some potential on-site stormwater management measures that have been suggested by the Assistant Director of Community Development, Alex Jones. This would help make up for an increase in peak discharge predicted with the installation of the solar array that was reviewed at our last hearing. So with that said, the continuation would be for March 5th at 7:30 p.m.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah.
All right, I'll make a motion that we continue till the 3/5/25 date. Second.
All right, as we're done the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa Widberg.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you for that. Next up on the agenda tonight, we have line item number 2. This is was originally a request for determination of applicability that has turned into a request to be continued. This is a request to be continued to March 26th due to conflicting schedule commitments by the applicant and representative. So if it would please the commission, we could have a motion to continue this hearing to March 26th at 7:30 p.m.
I'll make that motion. Second.
All right, as we've done the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa Widberg.
Aye.
Thank you for that. Next up on the agenda, line item number 3 under public hearings. This is going to be 61 Endicott Street. It's a notice of intent under DEP file number 251-0560, Norwood number 2024-12. Applicant is Kevin Hulker of Norwood Commerce Center, represented by Sue Spett of Mackenzie Engineering. Project description is proposed after the fact removal of existing structures and repaving in riverfront area, and new work consisting of partial demolition of a building, construction of paved parking in riverfront area, planting and maintenance of a stormwater management system. This was continued from January 8th, 2024, and we have a request from the applicant to continue to March 5th, 2025.
I'll make a motion that we continue until 3/5/25, sorry. Second.
As we've done in the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa Widberg.
Aye.
Thank you for that.
Well, that's a first, huh?
That was a wild hat trick of
No.
continuation in the public agenda portion.
Right.
Fun. Okay. Next up on the agenda, we're going to move right into wetland issues and updates, of which there is only one this evening. It's a bit interesting. We have demolition of residence at 35 Audubon Road. We'll let Carly talk about this one a bit. I think that in the case of this demolition, it's not the residence, but the swimming pool that might have been in the buffer zone of a resource area. So we'll let Carly kick us off and see what's what.
All right, I am going to pull up another screen. Okay, so This was a home demolition and pool demolition that occurs on a lot, part of which is in riverfront area to Meadowbrook. And while the demolished home was not in the riverfront area or the buffer zone, the pool was. And there was some confusion because pool demolition was not part of the demolition permit that was issued by Town of Norwood. But the pool was demolished, and normally when any disturbance occurs in riverfront area, it would come before Conservation Commission. So it's after the fact. This was just recently done, and this couple.
So are you waiting for your engineer to come?
He was supposedly coming, but he just had plans for the house, but
Okay.
it seems that the issue is the pool, which
Okay.
I went to see Carly the other day because we didn't realize that you needed a permit. It's a 40-year-old above-ground pool that had a slow leak and it had been empty for months, for 6 months. And when the machine was there, we said, and the dumpsters were there, we're like, why don't you just take the pool because it's a hazard as it was. So I apologize, we didn't realize that you needed a permit for it.
So in this case, it was a swimming pool that was inside the buffer zone of the resource area, not the actual foundation or footprint of the home.
Right, it was just the pool in riverfront area to Meadowbrook.
And the pool's gone now, right?
Pool's
Yes.
fine. It was above ground,
Nothing's
so I don't know if
Right,
that
right.
really makes a difference. It wasn't in
Yeah,
ground.
yeah.
And there's nothing going on top.
Okay.
In the construction, it's just vacant, it'll be vacant.
And Carly, you did a site visit, right? And there was no observed disturbance to the resource area, no migration of material sediments or components of the pool that ended up back there. It was all pretty cleanly removed, and you didn't see any after-the-fact remnants?
Well, so you want to make sure that all debris is pulled out of riverfront area. So it's the area that's within 200 feet of Meadowbrook. Here's some,
Did you observe debris within the 200 foot?
there's some metal there.
Yeah.
That's the neighbor put a scaffolding on back there. That's not ours.
What about this?
Oh, do you mean?
Yeah, debris.
Oh, he's supposedly
That's the
taking that,
frame.
he's got
That's the frame from
to
the-
recycle that.
Okay.
It's apparently certain, yeah, the cement had to go in one dumpster,
Yeah.
the metal, yeah.
And so generally speaking, for the future, if you're going to put anything in the riverfront area, you would bring the plan to the Conservation Commission. And we look at it and make sure that there's no better way for something to be designed so that it creates less of an impact on riverfront area. Or we make sure that the erosion and sedimentation control plan is adequate to protect the resource area.
Okay.
Is the footprint of the house that you're going to construct within 200 feet of
It's the same.
the resource area?
It's the same, we're
Same.
going 10 feet out on the back, but it's still within the 200, past the 200
It's outside,
foot
okay.
mark.
They just couldn't get the equipment between the pool and the,
Yeah, the
That's-
the
that's why we-
miscommunication was on the pool demolition.
What's to the left of the pool? Is that a shed? Right there?
No,
yeah.
that's a pergola we just put up in the summertime.
Oh, okay, got
It's for
it.
shade.
Yeah.
Oh, like a
Like a
easy
pop-up
little
tent
pop-up.
or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
got
the
it.
pop-up ones,
Got it.
yeah.
Okay.
for shade, and then
So it strikes me that really what should be punctuated here is that when the lot is redeveloped, that we make darn sure that we're considerate of the resource area and the associated buffer zones. In this case, when I read the notes, it wasn't entirely clear to me that this was an above-ground pool, so I'm less concerned about like soil disturbance and things like that that could go along with the removal of an in-ground pool. But Carly made all very valid points about expectations and permitting and some of the process that we have to be considerate of when we approach these sort of activities. So when you redevelop the property, is there any plan to do anything back there with like a replacement pool or patio or anything that would cause disturbance
No,
or
and I talked to
other?
Carly, if we were to replace a pool, it would be a smaller thing. But there's no plans at this point. This project is costing us enough money, there's no budget for a pool, much to my kids' dismay.
I guess one thing I would point out, if we look at this overview, this aerial photo here, is that we should try to avoid managing vegetation outside of the lot line. If you look over here, you can see where the property boundary is in yellow.
Yes.
Yep.
Here, and then it looks like there's managed
Yes.
area back here. So the idea is you want a wooded area around
Yeah.
Meadowbrook. This helps to sort of keep the resource in better condition.
Okay.
Is that line in the parcel fabric there, is that
That's
approximately
not,
the?
that's approximate, that's not, the actual lot line goes, it goes like that, and then this is straight, and then this lot goes like that. It's a weird shape.
What about the back, or was that the
That's
southern?
approximate, I would say.
Okay, straight back, okay.
Yeah.
Is that another residential lot?
No, you know what the weird thing is? Nobody really owns that land. There's no clear deed to it. The previous owners that we bought the house from, who were the original owners, they tried to buy the land, and all the neighbors did, and they had a title search done. There's no clear title to it. So we mow it, everybody mows it like it's, takes care of it like it's their own, but yeah.
Do we know where the 200-foot approximately is on
Right here.
this map?
So
Yeah.
this, the,
So
here
they're
where my
mowing the
cursor
200
is,
foot.
that's the 200-foot line. It sort of
Fully.
goes between the house
Oh.
and the pool.
Oh, okay.
So they're mowing close in to the 200.
I'd say the neighborhood is.
Yeah, the neighborhood, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Let's see here. We can try and see, but it's not currently working. There it
It's
goes.
taking its time.
Yeah.
That pile of debris that Carly pointed out, was that from the demolition of the pool, or what was
That was for the frame of the pool. Yeah, that's going to be gone.
like a deck or something around the thing, or?
No, there was the
Yeah.
metal, the metal
Exactly,
deck.
Yeah.
The stanchions going up to the
Yeah.
hold it there.
Yeah.
all around
That
it.
pool was
The
like
whole-
40 years old.
The Sagar alone too. was the
Yeah.
one that was built.
Don't build stuff like they used to.
I don't know who built it, but they built it back.
It's good.
But it really was.
You're talking about 35 Audubon?
Yes.
And that's effectively
He must be
being,
my engineer.
Yeah.
I think we answered their question.
It says that parcel is owned by Town of Norwood.
I'd imagine, so that was my expectation here.
So that parcel of land in yellow behind your home is owned by Town of Norwood.
Oh, they must have taken,
Trust, yeah.
it was part of the Hawley Trust,
Yeah.
that the original owners of the, not the owners, but the original developer of the land. But I don't know how the town of Norwood, because they
remember
tried
that.
to sell it to us, and we'd be happy to buy it, but there's no clear title to it, so.
I think the town took, like 70 years maybe.
I don't know.
Fortunately, this commission is not responsible for land ownership debates.
Exactly.
We would have
So,
bought it, but yeah, there was no, we didn't want to put that kind of money in and not have title to it.
so the big thing, Carly, is that ensuring that the debris pile that remains from the demolition is removed before it ends up like getting rained on, washed out, run off into the resource area. How far is that debris pile? Where is the debris pile on this area?
It's probably right back past the back end of the pool, I would say.
Yeah.
Over here?
Southern?
No, it's back end, towards the back of the property,
Oh,
yeah.
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 The same contractor, Jared Liberty, I was talking with Jared on the phone today. It's his intent to, get one more dumpster and get the remainder out of there.
Any timetable on getting that out of there?
ASAP, we're here just to, find out what you want, what we need to do to appease you so we can keep moving forward.
ASAP sounds good, but the way it translates, often a variable, right? So are we talking like days, weeks, months? How long to get the dumpster and get that?
Well, we've got a little bit of weather coming in, probably early part of next week.
That just strikes me as like, kind of the last remaining element of what's happened here. And I appreciate the apologetic nature of the members of the community. Obviously, I think they would have been happy to follow.
Lifelong resident.
Yeah.
I
what-
grew up in this town, so.
Yeah, I
It's-
mean, they do what they were supposed to do. They did get a building permit and everything, and
I think the misunderstanding was the pool, when we
Yeah.
asked them to take the pool and not realizing it was gonna
Fortunately, it was in a above-ground pool, it wasn't...
We were talking, yeah,
So,
yeah.
However, it was just the debris, once it's taken apart, to be hauled away.
Mm-hmm.
The liner went in, and I guess, yeah, that's the problem with those above-ground pools.
So we've had a great opportunity for some education here about expectations and permitting and the buffer zones. What are recommended next steps, Carly?
I think because, well, we know, I think what should happen is let me know when the debris pile goes. I think the footprint of the house is outside of riverfront area, and it's
Yeah,
not in
like-
buffer
like-
zone to
Did a
wetlands.
nice blow-up for you.
Will you show it to
I know, I feel like if you brought it, I don't want to take that from
Yeah,
you.
let's look at it, for sure.
I took the time to draw it, let's put it up.
We can ask Carly about that. I forget what
They mow
the,
in the riverfront area?
Does it depend if it's an established lawn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
have to.
I don't know about
yeah.
the town of
Look into
Norwood,
it.
but
Yeah.
as
All of our
someone whose
survey equipment now
lawn's
is that
in the
nice-
riverfront.
Right, yeah,
GPS
yeah.
stuff. So I'm able to get stapling coordinates, and then there's all kinds of information available on this site. Yep. So what I do is, they contact the NOAA site and pulled in the latest 1-foot contour from the LiDAR site. So you can see the stream is pretty well identifiable in the topo that's there. So I put that in and then offset 100 and then the 200. And you can see the line definitely went through the pool, but we're about 25 feet away from the house.
yep. Yep.
Okay, great. Could you share, can you email me that?
Sure.
That
I
would
mean,
be
I can leave you this copy too if you want. You want a PDF?
Yes, that would be great.
No problem.
Thank you.
Like to see the LiDAR used. Okay, so you were saying, Carly? We were talking recommended next steps before I think we audible to the,
I think for them to let me know once the debris pile is gone and to send me a copy of the plan for the new construction.
I mean, the intent is to put a house same dimensions back on where the old foundation was. So I had gone out there, well, I don't know, a few months ago, located the old house, so I know exactly where it was, and the building inspector was giving him a hard time saying, wouldn't it be easier to just do a new house than to try to renovate?
Yeah.
so Carly asked that you communicate with her in the office about the timeliness of the removal of the debris pile that we've been discussing that's behind the former footprint of the swimming pool. And then it sounds like you've already got a pretty decent existing conditions plan there with topo and everything.
Yeah.
If you can throw the footprint of the new proposed building.
It's on the plan, but it's basically exactly where the old house was.
We heard something
That's
about
what's
10
not the
10-foot
owner said.
kickback or something like that
It's a-
before you
there's a
showed
little
up.
piece coming off the back that's a little bit bigger, but it's on the plan, so I'll
Yeah,
forward that.
perfect. Yeah, so if you forward that along, that'll show us with confidence that it's well outside the 200-foot
Sure.
buffer for the future redevelopment. And then, yeah, that just
You never
communicate
know.
about the debris pile
Might
will
be
be.
more neighbors that want to do this. You never know.
I think one of the most important roles of this commission is just like raising awareness and educating the community about what we're trying to do here. The big goal is to just protect and preserve our green spaces, our waterways and receiving waters, and I don't think anybody in our community would really care to stand and argue about the merits of that. So, appreciate you being here in person and talking about this, appreciate the engineer being here.
Yeah, I'm a 7-year member of the Conservation Commission in Rentham, so.
Right on. Thank you for your volunteerism.
Thank you.
In particular in the realm of conservation. So it sounds like it would please our conservation planner just to be in communication about the debris pile and a copy of that plan with the proposed structure on it, so we're confident that it is where it is, right?
How long have you guys been meeting over here instead of at the town hall?
We were kind of scattered to the wind post-COVID, and now I guess we've been here for
Yeah.
a while, feels
Yeah, I
like.
think it's-
Almost 2 years.
it was probably-
Oh my gosh, I was going to say 6 to 12 months, I don't know.
At least 2 years.
I know, at least, yeah.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of new faces, too.
at least we have faces.
It's not one of those boards that a lot of people want to get on.
you have to do a little bit of work, and I think there's some thoughtfulness required, and we have a good, thoughtful team here, so thank you for being here tonight,
Thank
just
you.
being in
Yeah.
communication
No
with
problem.
Carly.
I'll jump on Jerry, tell him to get that guy. Get that out of there.
Yeah, we like it,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, good luck with construction, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I saw that.
It's an interesting block in the neighborhood, and that
Right,
parcel that runs
exactly,
behind the
yeah.
homes and things. That's a fun little fabric. Okay. That's all we have for wetland issues and updates tonight. We can move into Conservation Commission business. First line item is treasurer discussion. Do you want to summarize where we're at with this, Carly? I'm happy to share that we recently had a meeting specifically to discuss this with, I felt like the entire planning department, where we talked about just the general role, the job description, what it means, what, expectations loosely could be outlined for the role. Because I think that we've talked about this repeatedly now, and the consensus from the commission has been that we desire to have a treasurer, that we have some thoughtful mechanisms that they could perform. And I think that without going into painful details of the minutes related to the discussion that we had about this role, there's a lot of materials available from state resources and otherwise that kind of flesh this out a bit. And it didn't take a lot of energy to put together some reasonable bullet points that outlined, I think, what this role would generally look and feel like for this commission here in Norwood. So what do you say about this, Carly?
So Steve and Anil came to the office and met with myself and Ilex Jones and Sarah Dixon. Sarah's the director of community development. Ilex is assistant director. Ilex used to be in this position as conservation planner, so has a lot of background knowledge on what a treasurer might do in the Conservation Commission. I also touched base with Joe Greeley, who's a treasurer for CPC, Community Preservation Committee. And we looked at what MACC chats about what treasurers might do, what it says in, what else did we look at? Massachusetts general law, I think we looked at what
That's
a
right.
treasurer might do, and then Anil and Steve spoke up about what they'd be interested in seeing in the different funds that we have. Anil mentioned, Anil, you're welcome to speak up, by the way, I don't mean to summarize everything.
Go ahead.
Anil mentioned the usefulness of a quarterly report to see what funds are coming in and what's going out. There was a question of what the monetary threshold would be for when we would want the Concom we would want the support of the Concom for an expense. What might that look like? And Anil is interested in being the treasurer. I don't know if anyone else here is also, but there was a thought of electing today a treasurer and then doing a re-election in April when we have a reorganization each April. We elect chairperson, vice chair, treasurer. And tomorrow I have a meeting with Molly Ahern, who works in our accounting department, to learn what sort of reports I can run from the different accounts we have in our town software. And so I'll be able to provide you guys with that and talk with the treasurer about what they want to see, what you guys want to see.
I think it's great, because we've been asking for this for a while,
Yeah.
right? So I think quarterly is great, and, and I think it can be a work in progress, right? In terms of what are the thresholds we want to see. The bottom line is we don't really know what's happening, right?
Yeah, I agree. I liked the quarterly tempo that
Yeah,
Anil had mentioned.
I think so too.
I
Yeah.
think that, I don't know if it's shared in the folder or not, but there was some bullet points we put together from the notes that were reviewed. And I think that as far as, I think it can be moldable. If we feel like quarterly isn't enough or too much, we can adjust. If we feel like, we're still not got a good feel on the amount of monies that are coming and going, we can adjust the threshold of what we're comfortable with being spent without a conversation. But I think just to reestablish the role with some loose guidelines that had been provided from state resources, considering some of the conversation that was had in the meeting focused on this. I think that if we, moved to appoint a treasurer, like through Treasury updates, similar to CPC updates or others, we'll get a taste for how this is going, and not to put him on the hot seat. But since his engagement with the commission, Anil has been very passionate about a lot of like the financial aspects of what we manage. And I would be really excited just to see like what his impression is and what he thinks may matter to us, presuming that we moved forward with an appointment of Anil in that position. And I guess, again, not to put him on the seat, but I guess I would expect that it would become pretty apparent, where we want to move with this once it came back to life.
I guess I'll just.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was going to say, I don't think we want to micromanage the operating budget, but I think what we're really interested in is what's the balance in the open space stuff that we collecting money and when money's going in and out of that. We
Yeah.
want to understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Anil.
Yeah, I think we can do this in phases. I think we
Yeah.
first start with, look, we'll do this quarterly, and first start talking about, hey, how much money do we have, what's coming in, what's going out, and then I think organically questions will start to develop, and we'll sort of figure out what the commission wants to see, which will put to the commission, and then we can pivot from there. But I think we start with what do we have, what's coming in, and what's going out.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. So do we make a motion?
Any other questions,
Oh, sorry.
comments?
Sorry.
Anyone that wants to also express interest in being the treasurer of the commission?
And Steve, I put your notes up. Are these the bullet points you were talking about?
Are those shared in our, I forget
Yeah.
what it's called. I always want to say
QNAP?
QNAP. Is that is right?
Is it
Okay,
still
yeah.
QNAP, right?
So yeah, this is really just drawn directly from the resources that Carly had provided from MACC, from state, and otherwise, with a little bit of thought put into refining it for like Norwood, for our use, right? But I think if you even glance at this, it's like, wow, if we do half of this, it would be so enlightening and so informative and such a massive leap in the right direction. I think Anil used the term organic, right? Just let it happen kind of organically. We've got some great guidelines that have been provided, and I think that we've got some passion and interest from Anil and the commission to reinvigorate this.
Great.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. I know in the past, not as recent, but we had to vote on some financial numbers, and I felt a little uncomfortable
Yeah.
doing so.
No one was really advising us, right?
Well, it's
Right.
fun. It'll
Yeah.
get into maybe like the next topic too, may relate to this. So I guess with this in mind, it sounds like if it would please the commission, we could have a motion to appoint Anil Prasad as the treasurer of the Concom.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you for that. As we've done in the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Marshman is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Can I vote myself?
Absolutely.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa
No.
Whitberg.
Aye.
Thank you for that.
Thanks, Anil.
Thank you, Anil. Congratulations, and we really appreciate this.
Yes.
I do believe you're cut from the appropriate fabric. You have a mind for this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's good stuff. I encourage everybody, if you haven't already reviewed those bulleted materials that were mentioned that are in the QNAP folder, take a look at them at your convenience. It's, I think, hard to argue or dispute. There's some great guidance from the state that's already out there. So I think it's very exciting to see where this ends up going. And I think with that in mind, it kind of ushers in the next topic under Conservation Commission business pretty well, which is conversation about the fee schedule that was introduced, or conversation about the fee schedule that was back in August when Owen, who was, was Owen a co-op intern
He was our
staff, right?
intern.
Yeah. Who had a lot of support from the community development team. Compared our fees to surrounding town fees, developed an updated version of the fee schedule, and I don't even know that everyone that's on the commission now is here when the first conversation occurred, quite frankly, but there were some questions, just a little bit of, ooh, there's like a big change from where we're at now to what's being proposed, and I think we had asked for sort of a summary and breakdown of the fees by town for the surrounding or similar towns, and it looks like those materials may have been put together for review, and Carly, I suspect, could probably right from the cuff produce some of the numbers for discussion. There was also some concern expressed by myself and others just about how changing the fund and fee could affect Concom budget overall. And it sounds like with the level funded nature of Concom's budget that it wouldn't be affected in much or any capacity. But my thoughts when I saw this, coupled with the appointment of a treasurer, was, well, this is really cool. I think we should probably put this agenda item on our next agenda, and we should vote on it formally then, and we should ask our newly federated treasurer to just quickly review all this and give us a summary at the next meeting before we vote to accept the new fee schedule. It sounds frankly, superficially, like it's a good idea, and it's been well thought out, and what we asked for has been provided. But I just feel like I can't look a gift horse in the mouth, so to speak. It strikes me as a wonderful opportunity to try to engage with the treasury role and how it can help peel some of this apart and just give us a few sentences and recommendations on whether or not to accept these fees.
So the fees go to the general fund, right? They're not tagged to the Concom. Is that correct?
I believe so. In general, the amount of money that comes in doesn't determine how much money the Conservation Commission has to work with.
Right,
Or
so
like
the
level
fees
fund
go into the
each
general
year.
fund. I
Believe
mean,
so.
yeah, so I think that we should find that out, because the bottom line, well, what I'm hearing from Sarah is it's not going to reduce what we have available, but it's not going to increase. So I think that's an important point of view. So, I don't know what type of analysis that we would actually do,
We're just to make sure we're in line with, because
With the other
this
towns, I
happened
think that's
once already, right?
Yeah.
Not to have the conversation again.
Yep.
But this happened once already, when these fees that have been deemed exaggerated or over the
Yeah.
top, these were put in place while I was on the commission, right?
Yeah.
And they were put in place because the commission at the time felt like the fees were inadequate and paltry.
Yeah.
So I just don't want to get into this ping-ponging thing where every few years it's like, it's too much, it's too little, it's too much, it's too little. There's certainly a scientific or mathematical method with some geographic consideration for surrounding communities to just say look, this is the average of every town that touches Norwood geographically. This is the average of their fees, or this is the schedule of their fees. This is how we compare. Let's adjust ourselves to be in line, and maybe even, whether it's a recommendation from the treasurer or from the commission, maybe revisit this on some schedule, right? Because inflation happens, trends change, fee schedules change.
I'll tell you what I like about it is it's flat fees, so there's none of this calculation which gets complicated.
Well,
right?
it gets ridiculous
It's
with
50
certain
cents.
projects.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
On both ends of the extreme, but
Yeah.
in particular, big projects end up going to the moon, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
I
has
don't
this
know.
been vetted? Well, obviously, Sarah and Alex took a look
They
at
like
it,
this.
right?
They wanna
And
do
so
this.
has the town treasurer weighed in on this, or the finance gentleman?
I don't know.
I mean, I feel like he should weigh in on it,
Sure, I wouldn't argue that.
because if we go ahead and pass something that is significantly going to reduce or increase fees, I mean, we would have to do some projecting, right? So take a look at.
We don't want the Concom being
That's
blamed
true,
for the
yeah.
next override.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we should look at maybe last year's fees and, take a look at what were the fees, with in place, and then what would the fees have been with this new fee structure, right?
And how
So
would
you
that
got to model
affect
it, right?
Yeah.
All right, you looked at the
Yeah, but that doesn't
comparison
tell you,
chart.
it doesn't give you sort of what the increase would be. You got to overlay, what the fees we collected,
Last year,
in
for example.
FY24 or something, I don't know,
Even-
Anil, what do you think?
So, one quick question. I just want to confirm what I heard. It sounds like the fees don't go into the operating budget, it goes into the conservation fund. Is that accurate?
No.
It doesn't
No, I
go
think
into
the
the
other way.
Conservation Land Fund, no.
I think it goes to the general fund, and it isn't necessarily allocated to us, Anil.
I feel pretty comfortable that that's not,
Yeah.
that is correct.
Good,
Yeah,
yeah.
me too.
We're not reaping the fees. Yeah. Which actually is a
Okay, we're
good
not
thing,
using-
which is a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because if we had a light year, like, we might not cover our costs, right?
The
So,
conservation and planning go to the budget committee, and that is something that is very separate from
Yeah,
whatever fees
in the
come
operating-
It's not
yeah,
like
yeah.
pay for play type of thing.
yes, exactly. So,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd have to look to see, I'd have to look to see like maybe last year's volume
yeah,
for each of these and compare. The thing is, I would probably need some help from Owen if he's still around, or maybe Carly, because if we're going to a flat fee versus what we had before, it may not be an apples to apples comparison.
yeah.
So you and I may have to spend some time looking at it.
About the data, yeah.
I think just
Yeah.
one thing that Owen had said in his memo that you all got was that the amount of money that would come in year to year would vary significantly. So
True.
his concept was that this would sort of make it more consistent what we would earn each year,
How could that be, though? It's dependent on the volume.
but also the size of the projects.
Right, so the volume and the size, agree. But I think we could look at 2 years
I
and
would love
see
to see
what the
2 or 3
differential
years.
was,
Yeah,
right?
I'd love to see 2 or 3
mean-
years of what we charged for the last 3 years,
Because
year over year.
you sort of see it, and I see we've benchmarked it, but what does that really mean? You know, like if we had, yeah,
Yeah, just what's the dollar and cent? Last year, we collected
Yeah.
X amount of fees. If we applied this schedule to last year's projects,
What
we
would
would have
be?
collected Y fees, and here's the difference.
yeah, exactly.
And do that
So if
for
we
a
look at the
couple of
last 2
years.
fiscal
and
years,
because,
yeah.
you know, there could be some anomalous huge project or something that skews the numbers.
Yeah.
So if we looked at 2 or 3 years of data and just compared that metric, it
That
would
might be a
give you-
little work, though, right?
Even 1 year would be better than nothing, but I just would be worried about an anomalous project spiking the number.
Yeah. Do you have an intern now?
We don't. It says here, over the course of the last few fiscal years, wetland fees accumulated $8,500 in 2022, $53,000 in 2023, and $22,000 in 2024 in total revenue.
So do we have projections for the new fee schedule for those years?
Yeah, you would have to go in and look at, you'd have to recalculate it. Because we don't know if
Yeah, I think for
it'll
things
result
like-
in an increase or a decrease.
Yeah, for things like the RTA, it'd be easy to calculate because you can get that volume, but think about like commercial and industrial projects,
yeah.
right? If that's going to a flat fee and then
Yeah.
based on project, I don't know what the method or the formula was before, but it may not be easy to get to that apples to apples comparison.
Yeah, I think you would have to pull each application and figure out what the square footage is.
And
Well,
and
actually,
that's part
maybe
of
you
it
wouldn't.
becoming more simplistic. is
Yeah,
it's
and
so-
actually, maybe you wouldn't need to do the square footage, you would just need to apply the flat rate,
Well, you know the fee,
right?
right?
True.
Yeah.
You know the fee by project.
Right, so, but it actually would be easier, because if it was based on square footage, it would be a calculation. This is just a flat fee. But Steve
point,
is
yeah.
saying that this might result in a decrease, so is the town okay with that, right?
Oh, just the napkin math suggests it'll have to
Yeah.
result in a decrease in total fees.
Yeah, I don't know that, but I believe you.
So Carly, what type of structure does the other boards have in town, planning board? Are they a more simplistic fee schedule?
Like a flat rate versus a square
Because
foot?
I think it's important to compare to other conservation commissions, but I also think having a Norwood system is important
Yeah.
too. So it's not wildly
Yeah.
different depending on what permit they're looking at.
Okay, I don't know the answer to that, so I would.
And I would
have to look
assume
into
if
that.
Sarah and Alex looked at it, but I don't know. I think that's worthwhile because someone that's coming before us likely is before planning also.
Okay, I can look into that.
Yeah, so I guess we have those historic, the hard calculation's already done. Someone already summarized the totals by year for what we recovered in
right.
fees. And the new fee schedule doesn't require calculations based on square footage of
For
the
sure.
project or otherwise, so I still am sitting here feeling like it's a reasonable task
Yeah.
to undertake as a team.
But the fee schedule has, if you look under commercial, probably if you pull out that document, under commercial industrial projects, there's a flat fee and then there's a variable based on square footage.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, we have to figure out how to get to that level of calculation for last year, or the year before.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's definitely a science project, right?
I
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
science project.
I mean, it would be right, it's a shame that Owen isn't here, because we could have him, like, go one step further.
I think one thing to assume, though, is that fees will continue to decrease as Norwood gets built out. One of those years was significantly higher. I can only assume there's a big subdivision before the board. And
Yeah.
with land being built out, there's going to be less and less opportunities for those types of big subdivisions.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's almost in a state of redevelopment only, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a big, yeah, 8,522 and 53 and 23.
And now we're,
22 and 24.
right.
Yeah, that must have been a light year, huh? So probably,
I don't know if 22 was kind of catching up on COVID.
I know, right?
You know?
Like Avalon or, you know, what was built in
off the top of my head, I'm not.
22? Prospect is probably in 24.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. I guess I just want to be sure that the finance folks in the town are okay with this revised fee schedule, just to get their input.
Yeah, I liked Kelsey's question about, is this in line with our internal standard, right? Is this how other fee schedules are calculated and applied, generally speaking, like with the planning board, for example? So I think that's a good question to get the answer to. I think that if we can, for 1 to 3 years, apply the new fee schedule to the past projects that were recorded, to understand the difference between what was collected and what would have been collected, would help us project like the change in effect that it would have, and certainly can't argue with the notion that at a municipal level we should be getting feedback from like town level finance and treasury, just to be sure that they understand the ramifications of this. And I would say that that conversation ideally would take place after some of those two former questions were answered, so that we'd be equipped with that information and those statistics when we tell the town, hey, this is what we'd anticipate for a change in collected fees over the years to come, kind of thing. And I do expect we'd, I don't want to like jump the gun, it is just napkin math, but I do expect we would see a significant decrease to the tune of thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in the fees that were collected over the past years. So I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but it'd be nice to find out.
Okay.
So I think those are like 3 actionable items, right? We can determine or confirm that this is in line with other fee schedules within our town. We can work to compare 1 to 3 years of the fees that we already have, the former. We can compare the projected
The new fee
stats on,
schedule.
and then we could just run this by, our findings by town treasury, to just say, hey, this is what we would be anticipating doing based on recommendations and research that have been performed. Does this seem reasonable, and would the effect be acceptable? And then we would move to change the fee schedule, and then I think it could be revisited on some loose schedule every couple of years or something, to ensure that we don't fall like wildly adrift again, because it does strike me that this is extreme compared to some of the surrounding communities. But I know the change was made because previously it was certainly determined that we weren't recovering enough. So just want to avoid this wild ping pong back and forth and make some nice educated decisions that can be,
So do we have the ability to change the fee schedule on our own, or is that going to get voted on by Board of Selectmen? I'd be kind of shocked if we could change the fee schedule
I don't
without
remember
BOS.
having that
I know we
involved
have to
last time.
vote on it here. It's a public hearing. We have to post a public note, a legal notice for it. Beyond that, I don't know more.
Yeah, I don't
I
remember
think we
having,
should find out, just to,
yeah, there's no harm in
I would
confirming.
think we can.
we can,
I would,
okay.
I would guess that.
Yeah, okay.
That's somewhat, same with the assessors, they don't go to the select board.
Okay,
But that's just my general guess.
right.
I'm always happy to be considerate of anybody.
Absolutely.
But the assessors are like town employees, right? So we're
Well, not the
involved.
Board of Assessors,
Good point. Yep. Okay.
but that,
We should just check that.
absolutely.
Yeah, double check it. I don't remember doing that the last time the fee schedule changed, but it doesn't mean we weren't supposed to.
I know, right? Shh, we're being recorded.
All right.
Okay, great.
So we've got some action items on this one, and I think we're all committed to ensuring that we see this through and it doesn't just fall into the aether kind of thing. So Anil, in particular, with you being freshly appointed treasurer, I hope that you'll help lead the charge on crossing the finish line with this one.
Yeah, Carly, is there a date or is there a timeline on getting this approved, fee schedule approved?
Not that I'm aware of. If enough of the Conservation Commission had been desiring to pass what we currently have as a proposed fee schedule, we could have scheduled it for our next Concom meeting, but it sounds like we need more information before we get to that point.
Agreed.
Okay. I'll send you an email to just set up for us to set up some time so I can do the comparison over the last 3 years.
Great.
And making sure I can do the apples to apples comparison. And then we can then figure out, well, I don't know how long the science project is going to take, so then maybe
know.
at the next meeting, we can provide an update on when we expect the comparison to be complete, if it's not complete.
Okay.
Anil, I'll offer to support any type of data calculations or organization that I could help you with. I'm sure you can handle it all yourself. By the time you get to a point that I could help you, it's probably like a quick formula from there. But if there's anything that I can do to help you crunch the numbers or get it into something meaningful by, just reviewing projects and calculating the area of disturbance or otherwise, just let me know.
Sure, thank you.
Yep. Okay, let's keep the agenda moving then. Some good conversation surrounding the fee schedule. I'm very happy to have a newly appointed treasurer. Next up, we have a CPC report.
Yeah, so we met last Wednesday, and we had 7 projects in front of us, and we actually voted to approve all of them. So first one was in the historical area, and that was the Highland Cemetery and St. Gabriel's Chapel, about getting that on the National Register. And there's been work by the Historical Commission to try and get that done over many years. And so basically, they want to hire a consultant to just gather all the existing information and sort of complete it and put a bow on it and submit it. So I think that's a really good project. And then we've got 2 housing projects. There's a shared housing services organization, and that's Sarah takes advantage of that, and that's $14,000 a year. So this will be the 3rd year that we've supported that. And so I think it's a shared housing services organization with our neighbors, and it's proved to be a valuable resource to the planning folks. And then we've got the Washington Heights roof replacement. I think we settled on $300,000. So they originally submitted a project for $175,000 to do the roof replacements. But there is a matching grant that will be at a minimum 1-to-1, but it could potentially be 1 to 2.5. And so we have money in the housing. And so, this wasn't what the housing commission, housing board, the housing agency. It really came out of the CPC saying, we've got money in there. It might make sense to do all of the roofs or 90% of them, particularly if we can get the 2.5 match. So depending on what the match is, it will influence what we fund. But so it could be on the order of $175,000 to $300,000. And we should know that before town meeting, so we'll have a better number on that. And then in terms of open space and recreation, there's a total of $410,000 transfer to the Conservation Land Fund that we've talked about. Carly's feasibility study, Guile Pond. We've also got the Elliott Field study, and that's to develop, what is it? There's a new sport or something. But anyway, they're talking about reconfiguring the fields and the Balsh Ramp project. So that's $175,000. So when the Elliott Field was developed, there was a ramp that was put in or proposed or designed. It was a metal ramp, and I think once they started to design that, they realized that the metal wasn't going to hold up, so they're doing a concrete one. And unfortunately, it's expensive because of the slope that needs to happen. It's like a switchback, so it's a lot of concrete and rebar and things like that. But I think people felt pretty strongly that, we've got this facility right at the Balsh, and handicapped people can't access it.
Yeah, it should be accessible,
Yeah,
certainly.
exactly. So Kristen is working with, I think we have a FinCom meeting on March 6th where we present all of this to them. And then they draft the warrants to go to town meetings. So I think it's a good group of project, not nearly as controversial as the Vernon Street. So
Yep.
hopefully this will sail through.
Nice batch of open space projects there.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. I'm excited about the Dial Pond feasibility.
Oh, God.
Right? Yeah,
Dream come true.
yeah.
Excellent. All right. Next up on the agenda, we have minutes to approve from January 8th, 2025. So if we could have a motion to approve the minutes from January 8th, 2025, for the record, that would be great.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you for that. As we've done on the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and just ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa Woodberg.
Aye.
Excellent, thank you for that. And next up on the agenda, this is good stuff, we have an agent update.
It's very brief.
Short but sweet is okay.
So were there a lot of people on Saturday?
Yeah.
For the seed? Oh, good. Did you get a lot accomplished?
We got a lot
Good.
accomplished. I think more than was expected. It was
Great.
exciting.
Really?
Yeah, so we did veggie seeds. We divided them up into like little coin envelopes so we could put them in the old card catalog. And we have flower seeds coming in, so those will be at the next one, I think, on Thursday. And then I think there's another seed sorting workshop in early March. And so,
Do you have
It's
an
exciting.
approximate count of the variety of species that we have seeds for in the seed bank?
I don't.
Do you think it's hundreds, thousands? What do you
I
think?
mean, types of seeds?
Yeah,
Not thousands.
hundreds,
No.
dozens.
20.
I'd say over 100.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Just
Different
about, like
types.
pretty
Yeah.
close.
That's great.
That's pretty
Yeah.
remarkable to me. That's so, yeah,
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And I think the interest that was described in our conversation this week, and also when Catherine mentioned trying to sign up for Saturday and seeing the schedule was
I know,
loaded,
it was like,
that's
wow.
phenomenal, right? Like, incredible amount of interest, and it feels like people from a lot of different corners of our community are participating, which I think will help build some bridges.
Did you have any kids?
Yep.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. People have very different interests, you know. There's people who are doing like veggie gardening, just veggie gardening. There's some people who are doing flower gardening. Some
Yeah.
are doing both.
Yep.
And then there's people of all different skill levels, and there's people donating seeds to the library. And like one man came to this and brought his own seeds. But we had been doing seeds that we had purchased and we're splitting apart. And then we got a whole bunch donated by, I think, the Moose Hill CSA. So it was exciting. People meet each other and they make connections, and yeah,
We like
it's
it.
a great project.
Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, that brings us to the end of the agenda for tonight. Unless I'm mistaken. No, that's the end. So if it would please the commission, we could have one further motion.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Thank you for that. As we've done in the remote and hybrid environment, I'll go down the list of Conservation Commission members and ask you to verbally state your position on this vote, starting with myself. Stephen Washburn is in favor. Aye. Catherine Walsh.
Aye.
Kelsey Quinlan.
Aye.
Anil Prasad.
Aye.
Kalima Mustafa Woodward.
Aye.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And thank you, NCM.